Okay, so I'm here with, well, Els is a filmmaker from Grown Up Fat and Albanian. Congratulations and welcome to our festival.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
That's it. And to both of you, if you could just both introduce us.
I'm Elsa, obviously, and this is Isabella Knight, who plays my Aunt Shirley in the movie.
Brilliant.
Synopsis of the movie, it's basically a whirlwind story set in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, a coming-of-age story of a young girl growing up fat and Albanian in America, and a clash of cultures. So it's a bit of comedy, and it's a bit of a drama, all rolled up into one.
And I think I patronise what you really do, because actually you're the filmmaker, and it's pretty much it's your baby, if you don't mind me saying that.
Yeah.
So you're the big plate spinner. That's what I always call because you are. I mean, it's really
right.
So how did this whole project come about? How does it relate to your past and everything?
It initially relates to my background, growing up fat and Albanian to immigrant parents in America. So I was born in America, and I always had this disconnect to being Albanian because I so desperately wanted to be American. And the movie was born out of my initial one-woman show in New York about 10 years called Cornbread and Feta Cheese, Growing Up Fat and Albanian. And you'll see it in the movie. That's our staple food. The Italians have pasta and pizza. We eat cornbread and feta with everything. So I incorporated that into the title, and then one thing led to another, and I did the featurette, which is about 40 minutes, based on a full length. So for me, it's lovely to see all the characters that I did in a solo show come alive on screen, especially Aunt Shirley, my fabulous evil auntie.
She's lovely in real life.
She's phenomenal, phenomenal.
Just very quickly, we're going to move on to just something you said when you said about you desperately wanted to become an American. Because let's be honest, when we're young, we all desperately want to grow up. Actually, I wanted desperately grow up and do other things, but. Now you are American, if you don't mind me saying, because for all intents and purposes you're American, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
So did it turn out to be everything you hoped it would be?
The cliffhanger in the end is, I'm not going to give it away, but I did grow up American, and I grew up with a progressive family, but marriages were arranged, so I didn't want to have an arranged marriage. Education wasn't something that was encouraged, although in my family it was. So there was always this disconnect. So I got what I wanted, but it's never what you think once you do get it, in terms of the dream, the American dream. So that's all I'm going to say. You're going to have to come see the sequel to the movie to get the rest of the story.
The only reason I asked that, and thank you for that, is because we were speaking to another filmmaker earlier, and he came to the US when he was very, very in the early 90s, and to me he epitomised what I would imagine or call the American dream. And it was the same question really, because it always fascinates me, particularly when you're very young and then you migrate to another country. And I often wonder if it's okay. They always say never meet your heroes, because you'll be disappointed. And I wonder if it's the same with what you expect from a country and if it actually delivers. I know you can't really say too much because that's the thread of the film, isn't it? To a great extent.
It delivered on the end of what I was taught in school, but the reality, love doesn't necessarily conquer all. And you kind of learn that in the movie. You learn it in a humorous way, and you also learn the value of family. So there is this disconnect, and then there is the connect in the end. So I think it's a nice arc between both of us in the movie, because we kind of butt heads, and we do it quite often, from childhood to adulthood. But I think we tie up the loose ends very nicely in the movie. And
did you I know we've spoken away from this, but again, for the benefit of the viewers, did you two know each other before you made it?
Okay. Absolutely not.
And how did it happen?
We went through casting, so it's a SAG film, and we already had an actress picked out. She was not my vision of my Aunt Shirley. Albanians tend to be dark hair, dark eyes, and that's what I had envisioned. And she was a shoo-in. And actor's fright, things happen in life. She basically bowed out. So in the 11th hour, we were left with no Aunt Shirley, but we had a slew of women we were still seeing. We liked no one, And immediately Bella walked in the door and in an English accent, which we immediately were like, oh, nope, this is never going to happen.
Look, it's the best accent in the world. We've talked about it.
Yes, yes.
Fact.
But for this movie, you needed to do the Slavic accent. So I remember distinctly not paying any attention, but of course being cordial to her. She walked in with her haughty little suitcase and hello, greeted herself. And again, we were not.
I can imagine that. I sincerely
really,
can.
I still see it in my head vividly. It was so beautiful. And as soon as, and we weren't even paying attention, the director, my other producer, and myself had our heads down and we're like, thank you, and you'll be reading, okay, thank you. And just beside ourselves.
You asked me, will you do it in a Slavic accent?
Yes.
Will you manage
yes.
to?
And you obliged beautifully. So we put our heads down, again, not paying attention, and I think the first word that she uttered just made my skin crawl and just like
in
the hairs, in a very good way, because she had nailed the character that we were looking for within that literally 2-minute time span. I mean, there was not a doubt in anyone's mind in that room that we had found our Aunt Shirley. So in a sense, I don't always believe things happen for a reason, but it was like a blessing and serendipity happened for us that she walked in and just nailed it.
But you called me in again, because you called me in again.
We called you in again to see our chemistry, you and I,
oh, yeah.
but we were still sold and hoping you wouldn't leave the project. So we were like, please, please, please. And obviously, she came on board. Yeah. And the best part of it was, at our location shooting, she literally lived down the block. So you could not have asked for a better location.
I walked to work.
She walked to work.
No one walks, not in LA, particularly not in LA.
Well, we're from New York, so.
It's Westchester County.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, yeah. I'm just saying, but yeah, I mean, on the West Coast.
No.
Mind you, I think, oh no, it's another story, but yeah, New York, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Isabella, I'm still trying to see if I can forgive you for leaving Britain to go to the US. I'm struggling with that, to be frank.
She's mine now. She's mine now. Auntie's mine now.
I'm Mummy.
Mummy.
I've graduated to Mummy.
I've been calling her Mummy. First it was Auntie, now it's Mummy. So, since we've been here.
And can you give us a flavour of your background up until this moment, I know where you've come from, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm trying to get at.
Well, I think one of the reasons I could do the audition was because I actually was born to Polish parents in England. So I grew up speaking Polish. I couldn't speak English when I went to school. As a matter of fact, I was so nervous, I had to nudge my little Polish friend who spoke English if I had to go to the toilet, because not a word. But anyway, I learned it very quickly.
No, that's very interesting, because I thought I heard you speaking Polish, and of course the pennies
it's
dropped.
Polish.
Yeah, of course. So I was like, hang on,
So there was Polish, so I could, and all the aunties, of course, everybody spoke with a Polish accent, so that's what I did. And also I felt I could relate because of not that I was outside looking in, but I do understand the traditional thing, and that you come to another country with very strong opinions and values, and you are very disturbed when you see people moving away from it. Obviously sometimes to the good, but some things are really disturbing. So I felt Aunt Shirley desperately, because I only wanted the good for her, for Ella, and so yes, and I called my son's best friend who dances with the New York City Ballet, whose name is Spartak, and he's Albanian, and I said, listen, give me a few words here so I could throw them in. Yeah. So that was it.
And she not only threw them in, but her accent is so dead on. We screened it privately at Tribeca in New York. The Tribeca screening room, we had 250 people, and we had the party afterwards, but people were so enthralled. Every family member wanted to know who the hell Aunt Shirley was. And she really is the embodiment of traditionalism and Albanian ideology. But they thought she was Albanian because she does say words in Albanian, spot on, with no accent, full Albanian.
It's the British upbringing.
Clearly.
I just got one word to say, which can't be topped: Shakespeare. So everything else just crumbles.
Okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you that one.
On a serious note, this might be difficult to answer. Is there an advantage to, I'm not saying it's because she's British, but I'd like to know, is there an advantage or disadvantage in the round, because obviously every role is different, in being British trying to find work in the US, in your line of work?
For me?
Yes.
Well, I only go for parts really that are British accented, like Mousetrap I've done in South Carolina, or East European accents, really.
But even so, because you must know other actresses and actors that are American and Australian.
Right.
I guess what I'm trying to drive at is, I know you said you go for the parts that generally where they're trying to find a British accent.
Yeah.
But does it open more doors, or does it make any difference when you're looking for work? In comparison to?
I think it opens because they see you've got a British drama school behind you or something. I think that's...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Rather than the accent, it's the background.
Yeah.
More. Oh,
I
okay.
think the background helps.
Right, okay.
But you know, I only restarted acting like 5 years ago, so I'm still, again, new.
Oh, right, so you took a career break and then came back
I
to
had kids and I did.
Oh, right, okay,
I
of
worked in
course,
corporate
yeah, okay.
life, corporate life.
And how did the shoot go?
Oh, I loved it. Elsa.
You know, as the executive producer, I had a lot on my mind, and then being in it and then having written it. So for me, it was a different take. But you know, things, knock on wood, went as smoothly as they could on an indie film. So no complaints. We finished it in 5 days. And yeah, everything went smoothly. We had a great team behind us. We really did.
Lovely people.
Which helps massively. I know you hear all these horror stories.
Yeah.
Kind people.
Kind people. Everyone wanted to be there, and I think that was an homage to the people we had chosen, and liking the script. I felt honored, but we really got lucky with a wonderful team, and I think you really see that in the film. You see the love, you see the quality of work that goes behind it. So it was a wonderful experience.
It really was.
It really was.
And the story that you were hoping to put on screen, is this the story that you put on screen? And what I mean by that is, have you captured everything you were hoping to?
I captured everything in the featurette in terms of highlighting the moments. So I'm very pleased. I worked very closely with our editor, Frank Reynolds, who had edited In the Bedroom with Marissa Tomei.
Brilliant film. Brilliant,
yes,
brilliant film.
Brilliant editor. So really, I was on his back about it. What I wanted. We were on the same page. Post-production, I feel, is almost as important as production on what I've learned. So we all work really closely together to make it the best film possible. Yeah.
And was there any moments? I know why you've explained why you wanted to tell the story, but humans being humans, and I use myself as a case in point, we all start to do something and often have regrets when we're going through it. It doesn't have to be film, it could be anything in life.
Right.
Was there any moments you were putting this together, about to film it, or even post-production, and you're like, regrets? Or were you always focused and this is going to happen? And
you know, I always focused that this was going to happen, but yes, you know, daily I had meltdowns that people didn't know about, but I think that's part and parcel with making a film. I share that with my producer, Kelly Kirkland, who was wonderful. So I had a partner. She was Mama Bear that reined everyone in. We had a cast and crew of 40 every day. So it's really important to have that producer person be in charge of what's happening. Emma, our first assistant director, we had a great team of people that just was really on sync with each other, and to me that's fundamental to telling a really good story.
No, and that's really well explained.
Really.
And I guess what I was trying to get at is, because this is quite a personal story,
right?
And let's be honest, it's about you, isn't
yeah.
it? That's what I guess what I'm getting at is you're kind of exposing a part of your life. I mean,
yeah.
I understand why,
right?
But you know, it is deeply personal, and most people probably might want to go there, might start with the idea of making this film, but actually it can be a tough any subject can be tough, but you know what I'm driving at.
I completely understand. I've done 3 solo shows, and my last show is called Dating, Depression, and Dirtbags, a love story. And I opened Dating, Depression, and Dirtbags, a love story.
Okay.
It sells out in New York because there's a theme there. But I opened the story, and I'll leave you on this note, Steve. I opened the story with Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf once said, "If you cannot tell the truth about yourself, you cannot tell it about others." So I really believe in that. If I can't tell my truth to others, then I have no business being in this industry, because I want people to relate to it, and they've responded beautifully to it. So that makes me happy as a filmmaker.
And who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? Sorry, I just said.
There you go.
And she put that down on the way to the lighthouse, so we can throw things into this. That means or tells me that you are very confident in doing these kind of projects.
Yep.
I really want to hear about the dirtbag side of it, because there's obviously a story about guys here that...
It's not so much as about guys, it's about love, it's about betrayal, and about how one gets back on their feet, you know, having had a brutal thing such as that happen in your life.
Yeah.
And it's not male bashing, it's the way men and women handle breakups and move on with their life, and it's quite humorous. There's two different perspectives. My girlfriends went and took me to brunch, lunch, dinner, analyzed, you know, and my guy friends, and I do the whole sequence, they decided that the best way to get over it would be to take me to a strip club. So we've got two different variations, and both equally, you know, good, but so I learned a lot in terms of helping myself move on, and I think that's why I guess both genders really relate to it, and I do it with humor. I took up pole dancing, the first person in history to ever fail, get left back, had to go back to level 1. So it's little tidbits like that that helped me move on with my life after my marriage fell apart. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never been to a pole dance club or a strip club. I just want to put that out ever.
Yep. So come and watch me pole dance and fall off the chair. I thought I had nailed it, but clearly I didn't. So when I got the demerit slip that I had to be left back, I was like, you know what, I'm going to move on and find something else. And then I discovered yoga, and then I tore a ligament, and I didn't know that yoga became a sport apparently. So
I didn't know
I
that.
learned, yes, my doctor told me that after I tore the ligament. So all of these therapeutic things I learned, but I learned through both sets of friends, males and females. So yes, I'd like to bring the show back, but that's incorporated in the full-length feature. So this kind of takes off, and the full length explains everything in a whole. So we leave you on this with a cliffhanger about, is there something bad luck, or is it just in our psyche? So that's what the movie is really about.
Okay, so I know it's all about promotions, quite right. This is your film. I'm assuming you've got other things in the pipeline.
Yep.
Film, if you can talk about them. I know sometimes it can be difficult, and if you don't want to, don't.
Yep.
Okay, so can you give us a flavour of what's happening?
The flavor is right after this. We're in pre-production for the full length of this, so it literally...
Oh, so it's absolutely definitely going to happen?
It's going to happen.
Okay.
Yes.
And is Isabella part of that?
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, unless Shirley MacLaine decides she wants to do it, or Jane Fonda, teasing, Auntie. No, we have other people we have slated that we'd like in certain roles, but you know, my Aunt Shirley, Auntie, is staying. We found her home too, yes.
And what was the hardest? I know you had a wonderful time, but is there anything that was quite difficult?
Was there something quite difficult?
Was it all just a dream?
I think that, well, if I can be honest,
Be honest, yeah.
You know, because I'm really going to put myself out there.
No.
It's harder learning lines when you're older.
Yeah.
It is. So, no, it's true.
Sorry, what were your names again?
No, but I did weekly rep in Southwold. You know, I could turn those plays. It's different now. So I remember by the third day, I thought, can I get these lines out? And I had a little inner meltdown about that.
Yeah. Listen, you're not alone. I think it was Anthony Hopkins and Judi Dench that said exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, they have to, I think one of them must have lines that, you know.
Well, apparently Laurence Olivier used to stand at the back, you know, behind the curtain and rail and rage at the audience. That was his only way, as an older man, well, that's what I heard, of overcoming his fears.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh,
yeah.
Could be true, yeah. I know Marlon Brando was terrible from remembering. When I was on Superman, he actually lines on post-its all over the set, even though it was only on it for 11 minutes or whatever it was.
And Jack Nicholson has the ear thing.
Does he?
Yes, he does. So, little tricks, yes.
So the full-length feature is in the works?
Pre-production in January. I'd like to shoot late spring, early summer, and get it wrapped and ready to go for...
Isabella's thinking about the money. I can see the dollar signs.
Well, the wonderful thing, just to mention, is we do have a distribution deal. So
no, that's amazing.
I feel for my first featurette, like I kind of knocked it out of the park with 17 festivals. We loved being here, 8 awards, and you know, it's available on DVD, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, so people can see it. And we do have special features behind the scenes and all that fun stuff. So we're really proud of...
You should be. You should be, just to get this. I mean, look, I speak to hundreds of filmmakers, and I
Right.
know how difficult it is. And I think and that's me underselling it, because I know that is bloody difficult. You've done phenomenally well. And I'm sure that's part of the reason you managed to turn this into a feature, because it's a, I guess it's a, what do they call it? A proof of concept. You've done it, haven't you?
Right.
Yeah, you've built something, and the fact it's got distribution tells me
Yep.
as however you're working on this amongst you, have done something right, because it's devilishly difficult.
It is.
So sincerely, very, very well done.
Thank you.
No, it's well deserved. I've seen the film. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Ladies,
you.
that's it. Thank
you. Thank you so much.
No, that's wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
You. Thank you very much. I love the little Virginia Woolf. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
A movie that's messy, complicated, violent. A movie about family.
Ella, you're so fat. Stop eating. No nice Albanian boy will marry a fat girl like you.
What? She's so fat! Kids, shut up, you stupid cows. I'm not getting engaged.
I swear to God, you're gonna give me a heart attack. I'm gonna kill somebody. What happened? I have to go to work. Why all the noise?
Bobby, Aunt Shirley's trying to get me engaged.
You're crazy. He like fat girls.
I wasn't gonna settle because I was fat. Screw that. Yeah, I was skinny, but still stuck.
Okay, I'm coming.
I'm in my 30s, still living at home. We're jogging down a deserted street so nobody sees me talking to you. I gotta do this. How do I look?
At least you're skinny.
I didn't settle. I followed my heart. I got it right. Didn't I?